live. I hope you heard him counting. Otherwise, my last statement just makes no sense. But we actually are live. Welcome to And We're Live. This is the show where we talk all about video and live streaming and how to use it for your business and beyond. I am so excited to be here because this is one of my passions, educating everybody about all this kind of stuff, but not just mine. Also, co-host and co-creator, his name is Curtis Brooks from Curtis Brooks Media Productions. Where are you, Curtis? Show yourself.
I am here. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Dr. Tachi. How are you today?
Fantastic. How are you, Curtis Brooks?
I am doing well.
Fantastic.
A bit busy, but yeah, I'm doing well. And yourself?
Busy is good. Oh, I'm fantastic. I actually just like literally came out of a meeting and then we jumped on here. So,
right.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Super happy to be here.
Hopefully the meeting was productive and works out for you. Things are good.
Oh, it was beyond productive.
Absolutely.
Really good.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. I don't like to waste time, so, you know.
I know that's right.
Right. Guess who's here? Serena Wills is here. Hello, Serena. Welcome.
Hey, Serena.
Thank you
What's
so
going
much
on?
for being here.
How are you?
Yes. And I know we have some other people here, which we will acknowledge soon. But we've got a really exciting topic, as we always do. It's a continuation of what we talked about last week. What are we talking about? Tell the people what they get this week.
Door number one, we're talking about how lighting works. And actually, as Dr. Tachi mentioned, this is part 2. So today we're talking about color temperature and types of lighting. Here you go.
Color temperature and types of lighting. Ooh.
Yeah.
This is a good topic because I think there is nothing wrong with just start. My whole motto when it comes to video and live streaming is start where you are. So
Right.
You don't have to have a whole bunch of fantastic or expensive equipment to start where you are. However, as you start to become comfortable with video and live streaming, we urge you to actually step up your game. And part of stepping up your game is getting proper lighting. Now, you
Right.
can't really use lighting if you don't understand how lighting works, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why we thought we were going to teach you a little bit of lighting theory. And so last week we actually talked about why lighting is important and also 3-point lighting, right? So we talked about the key, the fill, and the backlight and what those do and how they help. You could take a look back at the video from last week and that will tell you everything you need to know about backlighting, side lighting, overhead lighting. We gave some examples too.
You know, and it
ahead.
really is quite interesting because if you're not familiar with the lighting, and I'm learning a lot myself as Dr. Chachi's is sharing
Go
some
ahead.
things, so I'm learning a lot myself. But anyway, but it's quite interesting because with the lighting, you can create so many different effects, and really it is just countless of different effects that you can create. And obviously, there are going to be examples out there on by way of video or just different articles out there in regards to what you can create. But yet, you can even go beyond that. So once you learn the fundamentals with lighting, the sky is essentially the limit. So again, as Dr. Chachi mentioned, I would just really advise you to just check out that part 1. It's on LinkedIn, also on Periscope. Check out part 1, how lighting works.
Yeah. Thank you, Curtis. That was
Absolutely.
lovely. That was a lovely. You have such a calming voice too. So, unlike me, you know, it is what if people are looking for calm, I don't think I'm the one. So,
But you know, together, because how long have we been working together now? What, 4 years now?
oh, it's over. It's not quite 4
Not
years.
4?
It's probably just 3.
Just 3? Okay, well, it seems like it's been 4. So
Maybe 4. I don't know. Let's pretend it's almost 4. Okay,
Right,
even if
right.
we don't know.
Yeah, so
my problem is. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, so it's been a while, and I think that
Yeah.
the dynamics kind of work. Yeah.
They do work. You
Yeah.
with your, hi, I'm Curtis, and this is my excited. And me with this! So it balances out.
Definitely.
You're the type that wakes up children quietly, and I'm like, get up! So you need that balance. But anyway, I'm wasting time here. We said we were going to take half an hour to share this with you. But let me say hey to Dr. Vibe, who's over on the Periscope side. Hello, Dr. Vibe. Welcome.
Hey, Dr. Vibe,
Thank
how are
you
you?
for being here. Yes. And again, if you don't remember who we are, my name is Dr. Tachi, and you are?
I am Curtis, but before we can do that, you kind of caught me off guard, so let me put your sign up in.
I'm sorry.
You can introduce yourself again?
I'm Dr. Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist, joined by co-host and co-creator.
I am Curtis. And there's my information. And we're live co-host, content creator, live stream producer, amongst other different services I offer.
Wow, this is a family show, so we're going to go on.
Well, no,
That just didn't sound right, but okay, we're gonna go on. That's not what was meant, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
Not
no.
what was meant at all. And guess who else is here? Anna is here. Anna,
Hey,
what's
Anna.
up? Anna's here.
Hey
And
there.
let me read some of her comments. Jay is also here. What's up, Jay? Anna says, hey, guys.
Hey there.
And she also says, if lighting is our topic, why are both lighting setups needing a little tweak? Too soon? No shade. No, absolutely.
Really, Anna?
So there's a reason. Yeah, thank you, Anna. Who asked
Yeah,
you?
right.
Thank you. Nobody asked you. No, there's a so we'll talk actually about our lighting setups in a moment. So there's reason why everything is that obviously our lightings are not matching. We'll talk about it. We talked about it last week.
We did.
Also, she says she loves the audio from both of us. Mark
Awesome.
Ward is here too.
Hey, Mark.
Welcome, Mark Ward. It says, I like to hold a flashlight under my chin. It's inexpensive and gives me a boogeyman quality.
Right.
But you know what? In all seriousness, that may be a look that you want if you're doing something narrative that has a kind of horror feel to it.
Right.
You definitely do want some underlighting because that does all sorts of wonderful things. Or harsh overhead lighting does the same thing. So we will talk a little bit more about that as we go on. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, or what we wanted to talk to you guys about today, is something called color temperature. Did you know color has temperature?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, I would hope so, since we're talking about this. This is a rhetorical question for the audience, Curtis.
Oh.
But thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for it. Okay, good. You knew. Color actually does have a temperature, guys, and it sounds weird. So color temperature just simply is really kind of the way to describe the way the light appears when it's coming from a bulb, from a light bulb of some sort. And color temperature is measured, in Kelvin. So if you've ever seen the K, and you have seen it before, that color temperature is measured using Kelvin on a scale from 1,000 to 10,000. So that is color temperature, ladies and gentlemen. But for commercial and residential lighting, you're not going up to 10,000 unless you don't want to see. It's too much. It's
Right,
too
right.
much. So most of the things household and even with film are going to fall somewhere in the 2,000 to the 5,600 or 6,500 Kelvin range. So you'll see this on some of the lights that you get. And in fact, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to bring it up. So you know what I'll have you do when I'm ready for the light? I'll have you like maximize yourself so I can bring it in so I'm
Okay.
not leaving frame. That's
Sure.
one thing you guys shouldn't do. It's really tempting, but if you don't have everything you need when you need it, just leave it. Because leaving the frame, unless it's that important, kind of disrupts things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but luckily today I have my co-host with me, so he'll be able to do some things through the magic of television, so you won't see me leave the frame. So that's color temperature. And guys, if you have questions about this, please put them in the chat because we would be so happy to answer any questions about color temperature. Saying what's up to everybody on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on LinkedIn Live, also on U of the Tube, Ewing of the Tube, or Tubing of the U.
Yeah, I set it up on YouTube. I don't think I streamed to YouTube last week, but this week I did.
Yeah, I was looking for us. I'm like, where are we? Or as they say in vernacular, where we at? Anyway, so so in any case, we're going to continue on. Ready, MC? Sorry, ready, Curtis?
I am. We have these images here for the
Yes,
color
yes,
temperature.
exactly. So let's talk a little bit more about, 'cause that's what it is. So let's talk about what it looks like because we're talking about a look with color temperature. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see, which one do you have up? You could put up the one that's just actually put up the one that says color temperature if you could, please. Aha. Look at that. Through the magic of live stream. So, as you can see, exactly what I was talking about before, starting at 1,000 and then going all it goes past 8,000, it goes up to 10,000. But on this chart, we happen to see up to 8,000. So when you're talking about the 1,000 to like the 3,000 weight range, you're talking about a warm white. So there's a little bit of a yellow there. And where do you see that? Like with a candle, right? Candle has a nice warm glow. If you've ever watched a movie and they're, oh, you know what always gets me? Did you ever used to watch Little House on the Prairie,
I did.
Curtis?
I did. Absolutely. Great show.
Remember when they were studying and actually we're going to talk about this concept today, but when they were studying or, you know, they had their lanterns.
Hmm.
So a lantern, in real life, a lantern is not big enough to or bright enough to light up a whole room. You'd have to have a lot of them.
Right,
So
right,
that
right.
is clearly television.
Right, right.
That is saying that there's no damn way it would light up the entire cabin, okay?
Exactly,
That's not
exactly.
happening. So in real life, it would be a warm glow. So if you've ever lit a candle or you've
Right.
had several candles, even when you have several candles, like, you have to have a whole room full of candles for it to be bright enough to do anything with, right? So, but you notice there's a yellowish tinge to it. So that's that warm white. Bright white gets a little less yellow, but still has a yellow tinge to it. And that's like in the 3,000 to 4,500 range Kelvin. And you could say that would be like the sun at sunset or sunrise, right? There's a golden hue to it. This is why people love to shoot in LA. There's that, you know, that magic hour that they talk about.
Right. Exactly.
The lighting in LA is beautiful. They've just got these, it's beautiful. It's the optimal place to shoot. So then you move up a little bit, you get to 5,000 Kelvin. You notice how the light is getting a little whiter?
Hmm.
So we're talking about daylight. And once it starts to get very white, we're talking about seeing more blue to it as opposed to yellow. So you see more blue and it's brighter. Okay, it's brighter. So we're talking about in this 4,500 to 6,500 range, but closer to that like 6,500 range, right, is where you start to get this blue light. Okay, then you start to move on to the 7,000 and 8,000. So that would be full sun. Okay, when you're like at past 6,500, that's full sun, past noon. And then 8,000 would be like an overcast sky. Have you ever noticed that it may be overcast outside, and as long as there are not dark, ominous clouds, it looks very bright? Have you noticed that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So people love to shoot when it's cloudy because, number one, clouds act as a filter for the sun, so you don't get as many harsh directional lines and shadows.
Hmm. The light bulb that I'm using right now for my overhead light, I don't have my light set up like you have, but I'm using around I think it was not quite 6,000, 5,500 maybe in that place, that
Okay,
space.
show them what it looks like.
I'll bring
Yeah,
myself on
that's right.
screen.
Bring yourself on screen, and then that they can see what it looks like.
Okay, so I'll do this here. Okay, and although the background is kind of there's that shallow depth of fill in the background, it is pretty bright in here, and I chose a bright light. Again, understanding how this lighting works, I chose a bright light for the reason of just I wanted something brighter because the other lights I was using kind of had that yellow tinge to it, as Dr. Tachi mentioned. Again, the color temperature. So I chose these lights purposely with the understanding that I wanted something more brighter and just kind of actually just kind of opening up the room more.
Oh, and it does. And Curtis, keep yourself up
Okay.
to get the other light so that we can physically do it. So keep talking. Talk amongst yourself. Let me get my
Absolutely,
light.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, as we've been talking about the lights here, I'll bring the diagram back on screen here, or at least the image here. And it's good to know that as you are choosing particular bulbs or lighting fixtures, or with changing your color temperature for your lights, each of these different lights are going to give you it's going to set the scene, if you will. And in reading more about the lighting or the color temperature, as far as the director or the cinematographer or the look that they want to create, what happens is that they're going to choose a particular setting. And again, they're in most cases using LED lights or just really expensive lighting fixtures, but nevertheless, the bulbs that they have are going to allow you to change the color temperature, and the color temperature each of the characters may have a different setting, or at least they may choose a different lighting setup for the characters to kind of help you distinguish which character, whether it be a good character. So if it's a good character, or the character's playing a good person, good woman, or whoever, they're going to have more of a
Good woman.
well, I didn't mean that. But you
She's
know,
playing a good woman. She's a good woman.
cut it out.
Unlike
Okay,
that harlot.
but if they're playing a good character, how about that? A good character.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so with that being said, a good character in most cases will have a brighter light, and so you'll see more kind of you'll see more of the detail of the character. But as the director or the cinematographer, or whatever the look they're trying to accomplish for a villain character or a protagonist, if you will, you might have different parts or parts of maybe parts of the face where there might be casting a shadow, if you will. Again, this is going to be either changing the color temperature, again, to give these different effects to kind of give us and these are details. These are the details that if you're in film and working with film or cinematography, you're going to catch these things. Again, this is what makes really great films, because it's the use of the lighting and it's the use of how you're positioning lighting.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me take some comments from the room right now over on Facebook. Jay says, so what should the color temperature be then? See, that is a good question. Let's get to that in a minute, because there's no one answer to that. There's no one answer. Also, Anna says, okay, something about coffee, sorry. Let's see, Yolanda Lattimore here is here too. I'm going back, guys, to get your comments. Mark Ward says, I'll use a harsh overhead lighting when I'm trying to land Botox sponsorship. That works. That works. That works. And Anna did theater and broadcasting, so she has some understanding of lights as well. Jay also has another question. What about how you angle the camera? I don't like the angle of the camera, how you angle the camera. I don't like the angle of the camera at the side of your face. So the angle of the camera, we can talk a little bit about that later. Your angle depends on what you're trying to achieve. And I know I've got a shadow right now because of this barn door. These are called barn doors, people, just in case you didn't know. Let me keep going with questions. Anna says, in terms of angles are huge. Ask any of the savvy folks, truly. Absolutely. Again, all of this lighting, what you choose in terms of temperature, all of that depends on what type of message you are trying to convey. So let's see. Hey, if you're live on YouTube, I should be able to find your live stream and watching my TV. Yes, absolutely. If you go to Curtis Brooks Media Productions on YouTube, you can watch it on your TV. Yeah, that's a game changer. Absolutely. And then Anna says, also Carlos told me a bit about color temperature. I bought some GE light bulbs at his suggestion. Yeah, good daylight bulbs and some scoop lights from Home Depot, and you are good to go. You don't always have to buy, like this light is a video light. Obviously, this is the Neewer video light. There are all sorts of interesting makers of lights. You don't have to spend a lot to get good lighting. Let me just say that. And Mark Ward says, Chicago is the optimal place to shoot in the winter if you can wait a week or two and you only need 8 to 10 minutes of light. Exactly. Bonus,
Right,
the
right.
frigid temps provide free cheap color. Yeah. Chicago is only good in the summer. Let's be, and the spring. Yeah, so I told you the name of the live, the YouTube live. And okay, so let's go with this. Oh, Anna says, nothing like a great big Fresnel when you're chilly on stage. Oh, the Fresnels, that's a whole other thing. I, too, was, for a minute, a theater minor. Now, I've always been deaf, but I was a theater minor, so I had to take technical theater. I learned everything about lights that I didn't want to know. So, again, theater lighting is a little bit different than television lighting because there are things you have to think about. So, well, we'll get into that later. Okay, so let me turn this on. Is it on? It's on. All right. So this right now is my light that goes up to 56 Kelvin. All right. Let me look behind it. Yeah, it's 32 Kelvin to 56 Kelvin. So the very starting basically is 32. I mean, you could get it lower than that, obviously, but that's the range that it has. So I'm going to turn up just the yellow. Okay. You see that? You see how, I don't want to turn it on full blast because it'll blow you out. But you see, do you see the yellow, MC, in
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. Yes, you do.
So yellow works really nicely for some things and not so nicely for others. If you want a nice golden hue, if you're trying to mimic day, maybe daybreak or dusk, that's a nice touch as well. So yellow can work for certain things, but yellow can also make people not look good. Think about people with very fair skin tones and you put too much yellow on them, you don't want them to look jaundiced. So this is the warm white that we're talking about, and obviously this goes up a lot higher. So I'm going to turn that down, and now I'm going to turn on some white light. You're going to see the difference. You see the difference? You see that that's white and blue? You see that?
Now, what temperature is that?
So this doesn't have, this is not that sophisticated where it has each temperature gauge.
Oh, gotcha.
This is, yeah, this is like it has knobs and it goes up to full blast would be 56K.
Gotcha.
So 5600K, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so I look and I see it looks good, I'm good. So it doesn't, but there are lights that you can buy that have the temperature that'll measure it out. In fact, I do have some that do that. These just don't.
Okay.
And to be honest, once you get to a point where you can know what light does for you, you don't necessarily need to know the temperature as you're doing. Okay, this is at 45K. You don't necessarily need to know, but it's helpful, especially at first. But this is just letting you that light is measured in
Kelvin.
In temperature. Okay, so yes, in Kelvin. So what if I give you a little bit of white. Now what that could do, now this is going to blank my hand out, but you can see around it, you see the white, right? And then you can see yellow when I do this. But what if I mixed both together? What if I gave you a little bit of white and then I gave you a little bit of yellow? You see that?
Right.
So you can play around with the white. And these, on this particular model, it's actually labeled white and yellow so that you can see the differences. And what I find is I'm having to adjust the white and yellow depending. And what you need to do also is look at your viewfinder in the camera or look at your field monitor to see what it looks like. Trust your eyes. If it looks like it's too yellow, chances are it's too yellow. But look at it in the monitor so that you can set the lights and then go ahead and shoot. Because you can fix things in post, but may I suggest that you do things right the first time so you don't have to fix it in post-production? Yeah? All right, so I just wanted to show you that, but we're going to go on. Let me, bye-bye, Agatha. So we'll get Agatha out of here. And we'll go on. Let me see if there are any comments or questions. Let's see. Mark says, then you look like you use the same makeup artist as the president. Yeah, with the over yellow.
That's hilarious.
Oh, and Anna actually brings up a really, really interesting hey, Jawaru Gambian, what's up on Periscope? And also Yolanda Lattimore is joining us on Periscope. What's up? Brings up a very interesting thing. She says, I get the wrong shade of Bare Minimals plus the wrong light, and she looks like a dead. So you also have to be very cognizant of makeup. We haven't talked, we talked about makeup a little bit, just to allude to it, but we haven't done a full thing of makeup. And I would like us to, you know, kind of do a little thing with, like, guess who is a makeup artist?
You?
No, I know how to do makeup, but I'm not a makeup artist. Dion Dean actually is a makeup artist.
Oh, wow. That would be great to have her on. That would be cool.
Yeah, so we're going to see if we could get, and I already know the answer is yes. So we'll have Dion Dean come on, and you know her from, she's come on Mediascope. So we'll have her come on and talk a little bit about this because she has a lot of experience with makeup and that type of thing. So we'll do all of that. But she brings up a good thing. If you notice, you've seen celebrities, right? When you think your makeup looks fly, but then you get a picture taken with a flash and you see all the line of demarcation, you look blown out, it looks terrible. So you have to be very cognizant and aware of what types of makeup you get. Definitely, if you're not used to doing it, work with a makeup artist who is used to doing it, because what you don't want is to get on screen and then,
Yeah.
There's some great, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you also have to be mindful of what you're wearing as well, in addition to your makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Your clothing.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, your clothing, absolutely. You do have to be cognizant of all of that. All of that affects the camera, the way the light goes into the camera, right?
Absolutely.
So your, the Bare Minerals, Anna, this is also another thing with Bare Minerals. Bare Minerals is our natural minerals, so like mica and silica, it's all natural stuff. So you're not getting very much latitude in terms of the color. So there's this color that matches you, and then several shades down is this color. So you don't want the too dark one, so you end up going with the one that seems to match. But then you get in front of light, and you see it really doesn't match. What you want is for your makeup to, and this is another thing, with modern cameras, you really have to have enough makeup. If you're going for a makeup look, you have to have enough on because the lights drink it up. So that's another conversation, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Hey, real quick here, we have Perspective TV over on Periscope is asking, getting a light with the LCD screen that tells you what color temperature, is it anyone that helps, or is there a specific one? I'm assuming that's what he's asking. Is there a specific lighting or LCD?
Ask again, getting a what with color temperature?
He says getting a light with a LCD screen that tells you what color temperature it is. Mm-hmm. Is there anyone that helps? Anyone specific? I'm assuming that's what he's saying.
Oh, any one specific? No, they will all, as far as I know, tell you accurate color temperature. So any of them that have the color temperature with the LCD screen, that's helpful, especially for somebody who's just starting with lighting, so that you have an idea of, all right, when I'm at 45K, this is what it looks like, or 4500K, this is what it looks like. So you can start to get that into your muscle memory. So no, there's no one specific one that helps. There's also light metering, right? So really, when you do this properly, you are supposed to use a light meter, right? What happens is we run out of time. We don't have Because what a light meter does, and you've seen them, like the photographer's light meter, it has like, it's a black kind of meter looking thing, and then a device, and then it has a white half circle bulb, like a dome at the
Right.
top of it. What you do is you actually take that light meter and you would point it at, you're almost right next to the subject. So if it's a person, if it's a thing, and what a light meter does is it measures the light that is bouncing off of the subject. So using a light meter is helpful in terms of balancing, for example, two different skin tones.
Right.
So you know this skin tone is here and this skin tone is measuring here. So if I put it at 3200 Kelvin, that should be good to balance them. But so that's a starting point, because then you have to get in there and play and see what really works.
Right.
So there's a combination of taking a light meter reading, knowing what the Kelvin is, balancing it out, and then looking at your viewfinder or your field monitor to see that it looks good, if that makes any sense.
Right, right. And also, just real quick here, Perspective TV reminds us that also it says using a light with CRI, that's color rendering index, also helps.
Yes, yes, thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. Anna says, since live streaming, I've actually taken 10 months of training with Liana Chuli to get my look refined. She's a total pro, has worked with Bob Mackie, Cher, Diana Ross, Jack Canfield. Perfect. See, she's talking about makeup artists. Fantastic, fantastic. I am a fan of, I mean, nobody is sponsoring here, but I will say this, and you know this, Anna, from theater. Ben Nye is really a brand that has a range. Like I'm you know, obviously a person of African descent, and I'm always like hashtag side eye when somebody says they want to do my makeup, because I'm always like, this is not going to end up nicely. This is not going to be right.
Right.
And that
right.
was my first, when I was in a play called Burial at Thebes, and they were like, oh yeah, we're ordering makeup kits for everyone. And in my head, I was like, not for me, you're not. Not for me. So I went to the director, I said, look, makeup and me, you know, and people with dark skin, often they get it wrong. And he said, no, trust me, Ben Nye will do. To this day, I still use Ben Nye. It is phenomenal when it comes to matching different skin tones for theater, for television. And in fact, Ben Nye was the makeup artist that did the makeup for Batman in the 60s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so he developed his own line of makeup, and it works phenomenally well. There are others, but I just am putting that out there for anybody who wants to try Ben Nye if you're wearing makeup on air. Okay, so Anna asked, I have to get a fill light. Would an O-ring help? Yes. It would. I'm not a fan of ring lights, MC. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of ring lights either, because each time I've seen the ring lights, it's been an overall great production, but you typically can see the ring light. If there's anything that's shiny, you can see the ring light bouncing off of that particular object within your production. So that's the reason why I'm not a fan of them, because at every production that I've seen,
Right.
the ring light, you can tell they're using a ring light, because even if they're wearing a woman may be wearing some kind of jewelry or bracelet, or maybe something in the background, or like an image or on a wall or something, a framed picture, a lot of times the ring light will bounce off that.
Absolutely, and you can
Yeah.
even see it in the irises of their eyes.
Absolutely.
And in their
Absolutely.
glasses, if they wear glasses. So that's the first thing I love. They're using a ring light.
Right.
And I don't want to, ring lights are fine. Look, any light is better than no light.
Right.
Okay? Absolutely. So I'm okay with you getting a ring light, but if you're going to spend the money, look, these lights don't cost that much. Like the light I just showed you, Amazon, I guess I have to say it, but Amazon, if you go on there, these are by Neewer. They don't cost that much more than to spend money on a ring light. So if you're going to, honestly, if you're going to do this and you're going to spend money, I would rather for you to spend money in something that is actually professional. Nothing wrong with ring lights, but, you know, Again, you can see them reflecting off of surfaces in the irises of eyes, in people's glasses, and that really gives this person went on Amazon and just bought a ring light.
Right, right.
Somebody who really knows and understands lighting and video will see that, and you don't want to look amateurish.
You know,
No disrespect to ring light users.
absolutely, absolutely. I think what's important is that if you watch any kind of movie within, I guess, in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years, and you can look back at maybe your favorite movie, your favorite horror movie, or documentary, or narrative, or something like that that's been done. What was the thing that caught you, other than just the topic or the subject matter that they were discussing, but ideally, it's what the lighting is doing. It's creating an experience that's engaging you with the client. Not only the content that they may be sharing, but the lighting is so effective that, be it in commercials, and Tachi, can I show this image here really quick here?
Which image?
The one for the waffle.
Yeah, go ahead. Waffle it up, yo. Waffle it up.
All right.
You couldn't wait. I know you were waiting for this. So
Yeah,
go
I was
ahead.
waiting for this one here. Fluffy waffles here.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
For those of you, we'll explain what it is after.
Right. Okay. So this is an image that Dr. Tachi used for Mediascope yesterday, and I grabbed this image because I think it speaks to what we've been discussing. And previously, I think on that first show that we did, since we've been back, we used an actor. Tachi, what was the name of the actress that we used?
Audrey Tautou, who was in Amelie, but you'll also remember her with Tom Hanks in The Da Vinci Code.
Okay. And so this kind of just really sets this up again, similar to what the great job they did for the lighting for this actress here. This is the same idea, and again, I just want to show you just how the lighting is working even with this image here. So this is the image that Dr. Tachi used on the show yesterday, and I think it was what the hell is this part of her show, the segment? And,
Yeah, that's right. What the hell is this?
Okay. So if you notice the image on the right-hand side, it's made with 50% butter, insect fat, and whatever. Okay, I just want to, just for reference. So again, not so much what it's made of, but how the lighting is hitting this particular this subject here, or the object here on the right-hand side. You'll see that it's brighter, okay, and you'll see that the one on the left-hand side, 100% butter, it's actually almost looks like the lighting is a little dull, subdued, if you will, or like it's pushed to the back. And so this is, again, bringing more detail to this one on the right. And so much kind of what I was saying earlier is that this looks like the one on the right here looks almost like the good guy, because you see more detail with the lighting, whereas the one on the left side is subdued and you could say looks like the villain. In this particular image here, the one on the right side is is what they're trying to propose to us. So nevertheless, I just wanted to point it out to you. And this is how
Give me the villain anytime.
Right, but the good guy's looking pretty good there.
They're looking nice and fluffy, but you can keep that good guy.
Right.
There's another thing about that lighting. That lighting is actually piss poor. I would not have used that. Again, these are scientists. For the background behind that is there's these scientists in Belgium that are looking into creating baked goods with insect fat instead of butter. There's this whole thing in terms of in future and looking for food sources. Insects could be one way to go, and so they did this. Of course, I'm completely repulsed by the story, but that is something that they're doing. But they are scientists, I get it, and not photographers. But if you're going to do something this important, this shows you how important lighting is.
Yes.
To be honest, yeah, the one on the right is fluffier, but none of them look appetizing, and that's because of the lighting, to be honest.
Right, absolutely.
Something like that, you definitely want one of two things: bright, even lighting all around, or some sort of spotlight that will highlight both of them with maybe a darkened background, and that is the thing. We've seen this happen before. they needed to work with a food designer or somebody, but
Absolutely.
the lighting was not good. So these are, I mean, that's a lesson. That's a lesson to think. Would you eat? Think about a restaurant, right? When you look at restaurant food or a commercial, what is the lighting like on the food? They're highlighting the food, right? So what is the lighting like? It's bright. It usually accentuates the food. It's usually close up so you can see any steam emanating from the food, right? Or
Right.
bubbles bursting inside your cola. They
Right.
do all those types of things to entice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they want us to see the details.
They want us to see the details. So based on this, and I get it's an experiment, based on this, I'm not buying either one of those because it doesn't look appetizing at all. They could have done a better job with the lighting, even though it was simply an experiment.
Right, right.
But an experiment I will not take part in. So,
But
yeah, and Anna says this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, Anna says that scientists don't always nail details like lighting. Absolutely, but it doesn't preclude them from doing it. See, I think we always lean on excuses sometimes for our weak spots. That's a weak spot. If this is something you are trying to get buy into, it costs you nothing. Granted, it's Belgium. So whatever the Home Depot, the Belgian version of Home Depot is, go get yourself some light and light the thing properly so we can actually see texture, right? Because that's an important part of this. If you want to show us that insect butter is no different or is even enhances your baked goods more, you need to show me more detail and texture. I see that as fluffier and thicker, but I don't see the detail because the lighting is not good.
Right,
So
right.
I need them to do better. That could be the difference between them getting funding for their experiment and not getting funding.
Right, right. Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
saying, because funders are not always science people. They may just be people who believe in science, and seeing is believing. If I can't see the texture, I don't believe that this is somehow better.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, over in Periscope, Perspective TV says, yes, that he's very familiar with lighting, and that yet with ring lights, they can be very harsh, and lots of them use very cheap LED diodes.
yes, yes, yes. And some of them don't have the, you're so right, some of them don't have the capacity to adjust the brightness or color temperature, or they have a very small latitude that you can adjust.
Right, right.
Yeah, ring lights, in the words of Randy Jackson, it's a no for me, dog. So, and for some reason, I cannot see your comments on Periscope, so forgive me. So, MC Curtis will, or sorry, Curtis will look at that. Yeah, because I'm not seeing them. But so if there's something, just read it out, please, Curtis.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have really taken a lot of time.
Hammered that one, huh?
We did. We belabored the point. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I don't know. I'm going to leave this up to you. You tell me. Should we? We covered a good amount of stuff. Should we leave the types of lighting for next week, or do you want to go into it? Because we're already at like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think we probably should leave it for next week for the sake of time. Yeah.
I agree, for the sake of
Yeah.
time, because we want to respect your time. It's the middle of the day. I know some of you are at
Right.
work. We appreciate you
Absolutely.
sneaking off into the conference room and watching us. And hopefully you got something out of this. We would love for you to leave some comments in the chat on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Periscope, and let us know maybe some other things that you'd like to see. If you have any questions, please feel free. And that about covers it. So we should recap, huh?
Let's do that.
All right. So today we talked about color temperature, and we went through the color temperature chart. Hopefully you guys took a screenshot. Would you mind putting it back up really so that they can take a screenshot if they would like?
Sure.
So we talked about this color temperature chart, and it goes all the way. Color temperature goes anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 Kelvin. Color temperature is measured in Kelvin, and the lower end of the spectrum is more yellow light, right? Like a warm white, they call it, but it could also be yellow light. And then the higher end of the spectrum is like cooler white light. So you see the blues in there. And then we talked about some of the examples of things like at the very high end, an overcast sky, at the low end, a candle. Also gave you some colorful references to Little House on the Prairie. You could take that down now. And we also, answered some of your questions in terms of angle. I will answer this. Jay, you asked what is the best angle. Your angle is dependent upon what you're trying to convey. Let's take an interview, for example. Most of the time, you are not going to see a whole lot of interviews head on. So how we are, straight in the middle of the frame, looking at the camera. Sometimes you'll see that. So that's a style. That is an interview style. But often, I'm going to do this now. So what you see how I'm kind of like angled 45 degrees.
Right.
The interviewer sits there. So it's more the subject and less of the camera. The camera is straight on, but the subject is turned and talking to, so you see, it looks like I'm talking to someone in an interview, or it could be like right here. You see what I'm saying? So that's straight on, but you've moved the subject around. If you want to convey, for example, now this comes with narrative, the hopelessness in a such a situation where the character feels very small, the camera could be up overhead, making the character look small, right? And that conveys a sense of hopelessness where this character feels like the situation is bigger than them.
Right.
The opposite, to make the character feel big, or even in an interview, I think this works with, you've seen these interview pieces, these packages they're called in news, and they have B-roll, which is the supplementary. A-roll is the main interview. B-roll is the shots that fill in things. So maybe you've got a basketball player and you're doing an interview, but then you've got some other shots of him holding the basketball. For artistic sake, you might want to have the camera below him a little bit to show that this person, or her, if it's a woman, to show that he or she is a giant in his or her field, right? So there's so many things. There's no one right way to angle things. But I'll tell you one thing, in live stream, you don't want to be cut off. I see so many live streams where they're like this, and the edge of the frame is like right here.
Have you ever seen where they're, like you said, about somewhere here, and they've got the lower third that comes across the screen?
Across their mouth. Yes.
Across their mouth, yeah. I'm just like, really?
Push the camera away from you. The best shot when you're live streaming and you're doing a talking head kind of thing like we are is a medium shot, which is basically kind of from the chest up, right? So from the chest up is a medium shot. Now I have a lot of space, a little bit too much space above my head, but that's because I wasn't paying attention before we started. So if I bring it down a little bit, that's actually a little bit better framing, right?
Right.
So because I wasn't paying attention, I was doing all these things. So it's hard when you're doing self-production to think about these things, but if you do, it makes for a better, much, much better production. Let's take some comments before we go. Anna says, and yes, I'm one of those chin conscious, just trying not to look like Jabba the Hutt here. I think that's what we're all trying to avoid. Angles on the chin conscious has to be higher. Absolutely. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say is that it's another good idea too, is that when you're doing like an interview style, or if you've got yourself as a host and you're interviewing someone, it's a good idea to try to, as Dr. Tachi mentioned, you don't want to have too much head space. And a good medium shot, as she mentioned also, is about from the chest up. But you also want to make sure that both of you are level from as far as there's equal amount of head space, if that's possible.
Yes, because what would be terrible is if I was, my chair would let me go down. That looks bloody awful.
Absolutely.
That just looks awful. And now I have the task of needing to raise myself up again. So you want to make sure, that is an excellent point, make sure you're level. And again, that doesn't necessarily have to do with lighting per se, but there's so much. There's so much.
It really is.
So
it
yeah,
really is.
we will do, we'll do a part 3 next week. So next week we'll talk about the types of lighting. I think that should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anything else, Curtis?
No, great show. Great show.
Yeah, good
Thanks
show.
for join-
Good show.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
It just, Mark Ward said Little Women Miami. Terrible. Gasoline drawers. Gasoline drawers. Anna says, I want an
That's
iPhone case
funny.
with a level on it. Seriously. You know what? That would help, because that, if it's not level, it is easy to to misconstrue whether or not you are level. So that's let's see what else. Yeah, that is about it. Thank you so much. Oh wait, I'm seeing things now. Perspective TV says I see it all the time in terms of the chin here and whatever. And yes, headroom can be a big deal. Perspective TV, absolutely. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. Well, we do what we can, and we will be back next week with part 3 of our How Lighting Works seminar series, whatever.
Yeah, that's about what it's ending up to be.
It is. our 5-part workshop on how lighting works. All right, guys, thank
Absolutely.
you so much, and we will see you next week at 2-ish. Or
Ciao, everybody.
3-ish.
Ciao, everybody.
Bye.